Good evening, guys. It is Derek from the Fantasy Flyer doing day two of my playoff reactions. And if you followed the show at all or you know me at all, you know that today was not a good day for me as a Cowboys fan, or any Cowboys fan. It's not just me. We will chat about that. I'm here to go over both of the day two games, that is Dallas and Green Bay and Detroit Rams, just give you some of my reaction and some of my notes. Um, to start, Dallas and Green Bay, of course, was the 4:30 game. This game ended 48 to 32 in favor of the Green Bay Packers. Dallas seemed like they were never in this game. Their defense was never prepared. I have some extra thoughts that I will keep to myself, but in general, this was just not. It's what you expect from Dallas at this point, but it's just not a normal game based on the regular season. This wasn't a game the defense seemed to be prepared for. The offense struggled for at least half the game. It's kind of surprising Dallas ever got 32 points, to be honest. Dan Quinn really didn't show much ingenuity against Buffalo in Week 14. It was the same thing here. There was a lot of rushing the quarterback, and if that didn't work out, yeah, whatever. And Jordan Love played excellent, so it really didn't matter much. But there was no adjustment on the defensive end for the Cowboys. Speaking of Love, however, they earned their right to play next week. Jordan Love had the best passer rating of any quarterback in the league from Week 12 on, and the offense just looked absolutely crisp. Aaron Jones was vicious running the football. The offense was multidimensional, and Dallas's defense was very much one-dimensional. So, not a surprise to me that the result is the way it is. The players didn't do anything different on any of the drives defensively. Dallas honestly deserves to be going home. And, as somebody who watches the sport of football and loves it, it is kind of one of those things where that's just the case and that's how it goes. So Dallas is we'll talk about Dallas in a minute. Green Bay, I mean, Dontavian Wicks was perfectly fine. Romeo Dobbs was the star of this game. He ran the same route four times and got like three 25 or 30-yard catches on four of the routes. And he ended up having, I don't know, six for 150 or something, had a fantastic game. Aaron Jones, like I said, fantastic game. Green Bay will play San Francisco next week. Dallas looks towards the offseason. There is speculation already about Dallas replacing Mike McCarthy. I'm kind of behind it as a Cowboys fan. I am very much a fan of replacing Dak. Um, it's not easy to do, and it would definitely start off a rebuild. So I understand if that's not the smartest decision, and I understand if that's not a decision that would be made. But it's something I think that we have to start considering as a Cowboys fan. I don't like the way the offensive line is trending. I don't like the way that the defense beyond the defensive line is trending. The secondary was very bad. It was porous in this game. And you can't say porous without saying poor. So when it comes to secondary, that would not be surprised. I don't think Dak is going to ever win this team a Super Bowl, but many of the core cohorts that I have talked to since the game has ended seem to disagree with me. He did have an MVP caliber season, so emotionally, I am invested in him going somewhere else. Logistically, I completely understand him staying where he is because he had a fantastic year, and it just has to translate to the postseason. So there's my Dallas rant for everyone. Um, for Green Bay, I mean, they have such a young team. The only thing they have to worry about is fixing the defense, and the defense wasn't bad here. Specifically in the first half, the defense was fantastic, and Dak helped that. He threw two interceptions, one for a pick six to Darnell Savage, but uh, the defensive pressure itself was fantastic. The secondary, I mean, Jair Alexander got hurt in this game and didn't return, but if they are healthy, it's a very decent secondary. I think they could use some help in the middle of the field, and they still think they need some depth on the defensive end. Another pass rusher would be great. But all in all, Green Bay, nobody expected them to be here at the beginning of the season. And shout out to Green Bay. they're going to go play San Francisco and see if they can knock off another, another tough opponent next week in San Francisco. Real quick, we'll go over the stats for Dallas. Dak Prescott, 41 for 60, 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the 2 interceptions. Tony Pollard had 15 carries for 56 yards and a rushing touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 9 catches for 110 yards. Michael Gallup had 6 catches for 103 yards, and Jake Ferguson caught all 3 of Dak Prescott's touchdown passes, 10 receptions, 93 yards. For Green Bay, Jordan Love, 16 for 21, 272 yards, 3 touchdowns. Fantastic output. I mean, him and CJ Stroud in the first 2 days have surprised and gone above and beyond. Big shout out to them. The future of quarterbacks is bright. Aaron Jones, 21 carries, 118 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. Romeo Doubs, 6 catches, 151 yards, and a touchdown as well. Luke Musgrave, 3 catches for 52 yards and a touchdown. Dontavian Wicks, 2 receptions, 25 yards, 1 touchdown. And then Darnell Savage had the 64-yard interception return for a touchdown. Dallas was never, again, I'll say it again, Dallas was never in this game. Green Bay was the better team, and I'm excited to see what Green Bay does against San Francisco. We'll talk about the schedule momentarily because next weekend, a good chunk of the schedule is set. So we will talk about that after this next game, which just ended about 15 minutes ago. It's 11:30 on the East Coast, and Detroit and the Rams was the best game so far of the 4 wild card weekend games that we have had. Detroit had a fantastic first half, despite not really being able to run the ball. That's a common theme. The Rams shut down the run and made Jared Goff throw it. Problem was Jared Goff was very accurate, didn't turn the ball over, and that usually leads to the Lions winning, as was the case here. Lions won 24-23. All in all, the first half, the pressure was on committing to stopping the run on both defensive sides of the ball, but the passing games were going haywire. Puka was leading the Rams. It was surprise wide receiver Josh Reynolds, who had 85 first half receiving yards and the touchdown in the first half. It's surprising to me the Rams were as prepared as they were, both offensively and defensively, to stop the run. But Sean McVay had the team ready, and Matthew Stafford was there to prove something. So it's good to see Matthew Stafford. And it was a competitive game, and to see the Stafford return to Detroit and have this good kind of matchup, and to have Jared Goff face his former team and to kind of prove them wrong. Very juicy storyline. The best player on the field throughout this game was Puka Nacua, however, and he is going to continue to be amazing. It's interesting to see how the Rams handle Cooper Kupp going into next year, as they unfortunately lost this game. Like I said, the Rams have a lot of things to look forward to, but I think defensively, it's another thing where you could use a little pass rush, maybe an interior defensive line pressure to match with Aaron Donald, just to give that second level of defensive competency. But all in all, this team is looking well. Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams both stepped up to the plate huge this year. A ball hawk safety wouldn't be bad, but in general, Rams have nothing to really hold their head about. I had them to only have 4 wins this season, so they proved me wrong by a mile. So shout out to the Rams. As for the Lions, they did get the run game going a little bit. David Montgomery had over 50 yards. Jared Goff threw for 227. So, he was in the ballpark of having a very good game. Defensively, there was a lot of, it was 21-17, I think, at halftime, and the game ended 24-23. So a very defensive second half. Most of the explosions happened in the first half, and that's kind of how the game went. So really quick out the gate, and then it slowed, and it got real close at the end. We'll read off the stats real quick. Detroit, Jared Goff, 22 for 27, 227 yards, 1 touchdown, and crucially, no turnovers. David Montgomery had the 57 rush yards, 1 rushing touchdown on 14 carries. Jahmyr Gibbs, 8 carries for 25 yards, had a rushing touchdown as well. Also had 4 catches for 43 yards. Good to see him getting involved in the pass game again. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 catches, 110 yards. Josh Reynolds had 5 catches for 80 yards. Sam Laporta, 3 catches for 14 yards and a touchdown. For the Rams, I'm going to have to look them up as we go because I didn't type them out like a numpty. Matthew Stafford, 25 for 36, 367 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyron Williams only 61 yards on the ground. He left at the beginning of the fourth quarter with a hand injury. No report on what it is right now. I didn't. All I heard is that he was out for the rest of the game. I don't know the extent of it. He will have the offseason to heal up, however. Puka Nacua, 9 catches, 181 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. He had half of the team's receiving yards. The man is a monster. Demarcus Robinson, 3 catches for 44 yards. Tutu Atwell, 1 catch for 38 yards and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, 9 targets, 5 catches, 27 yards. It seems like he is the short field player, and if he can get some yak out of it, it works. And then Puka Nacua is a little bit of that as well as some deep threat. And it's tough to say how the Rams will go about Cooper Kupp. Obviously, I think he's going to be there. That's not the point. Um, but he has to develop and to be developed more into the schemes, I think. So, um, all in all, nothing again for the Rams. They had 10 wins. Great season for them. It's good to see the Lions get their first playoff win since 1991. They will take on. I'm going to real quick pull it back up on my phone because again, doing all of this. The line for Green Bay and San Francisco opened at 10. So just a little spoiler alert for you. Let me pull up the picture just so I have it one more time. Saturday at 4:30, we will have Houston at Houston at Baltimore. Saturday night, it'll be Green Bay at San Francisco at 8 o'clock. On Sunday, we have the winner of the Philadelphia Tampa Bay game. That will be in Detroit. That's at 3 o'clock Eastern. Then at 6:30, you will have Kansas City facing the winner of Buffalo or Pittsburgh. So there you go. There's your nuts and bolts of the schedule next weekend. So that's going to do it for this video. Just kind of recapping some of my thoughts. Some final thoughts on both games. Again, Cowboys disappointment, giant fart. Do something different because this gets real old. Green Bay, super excited to see what they can do going forward. That young team, even if they go into San Francisco and they get blown out, they have so many things to be excited about. As for Detroit, they have the weapons to keep this march going. I don't think it matters whether Philly or Tampa Bay wins tomorrow night. I think this turns into a Detroit versus San Francisco NFC Championship, and that is a very juicy matchup that I would love to see. For the Rams, again, kind of the same thing as Green Bay, just on the losing side. They have a bright future ahead of them. You know, you can kind of talk about them possibly starting to reroute away from Matthew Stafford, as Matthew Stafford in his mid-30s crawling towards that big 4-0. But I don't know if that's the time to do it now. Maybe give it one more year, especially with Puka Nacua coming on so strong. Build up that offensive line a little more. Let Kyron Williams continue to do his thing. The Rams could contend next year as well, along with the 49ers and perhaps even the Cardinals. We could see a situation like we see in the NFC East. We could just see that in the NFC West with those three teams. Very interesting. A lot of levels to that. But that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you guys. Leave some comments if you disagree, other thoughts, other things you think I might have missed. And then we will see you guys hopefully tomorrow, maybe Tuesday, for the follow-up to the two games now tomorrow. Buffalo Steelers at 4:30 and then at 8:15, Tampa Bay and Eagles. You guys take care. We'll talk to you soon. Derek from the Fantasy Flyer. Peace out.